Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about the difference between high maintenance and high standard women. What's the difference? If you're new to my channel, my name is Jorgensen. Welcome to Just the Tip Tuesday. So generally, when we're talking about high maintenance and high standards, they might look the same on the surface to a degree, but we can really distinguish the difference based on the intention behind them. So high maintenance comes from a place of insecurity and shallowness and self-entitlement, whereas high standard comes from a place of self-worth. So not insecurity, the opposite of insecurity comes from a place of knowing your value and being able to ask for that in a respectful way. So the key point is whether or not the woman is worth it. And you'll get to know what I mean by this as we go through the examples. Now, just before we get into those examples, there are 3 questions you want to ask yourself about finding a woman that has high standard, which typically is someone who will also have high value. And those questions are: 1, does she even exist? Is she this fabled unicorn in the real world somewhere that is actually a real person? Or have you made up the ideal perfect woman in your mind that isn't even real? Like she just is an impossible standard that you have. The second question that you want to ask yourself is, do you have what she would want? So are you the kind of man that high quality unicorn is going to actually go for? Guess what happens when you're a unicorn? You are rare. So ladies, if you're watching this, if you're a rare unicorn, you're going to have a lot of options to choose from. Guys, she's going to have a lot of options to choose from. So is she going to want what you are offering? Because she does have choice. And the third question you want to ask yourself is, if you don't or you can't offer what you think that amazing woman requires, are you willing to change some of those things about yourself? And if you haven't taken my Wake Up to Love program, you definitely should look into it because it helps you distinguish between the things that you absolutely should change to not only get a woman, but to feel better about your life, self-respect, and the things that you should not change, that you should just embrace and own and be unapologetic about. So I'll leave a link below. If you haven't already done the program, it's definitely worthwhile. If you've already done it, it's coming up to the end of the year and you should probably think about doing a review. So it's there for you. Okay, let's get into the examples of high maintenance versus high standard women. So 1, an example would be high maintenance if she needs you to text or call all the time or every day or really frequently, but she rarely reaches out to you. Versus high standard would be someone who expects you to reply within a reasonable amount of time, which you can discuss and negotiate with that person, and is understanding about sometimes you might not be able to reply right away, or is understanding if you're busy and you have to say, hey, I'm busy, I'll get back to you soon. Or if you just don't reply back because you are in the middle of something, but you don't do it all the time. So super demanding about always texting, which translates into insecurity and controlling, versus understanding about what you're able to offer in terms of texting or calling or general communication. Number 2, kind of along those lines in a way, is if she's high maintenance, then she will demand to know where you're with and who you're with at all times. And this again is controlling, insecure, and high maintenance. Whereas if she has high standards, she will want to know where you are and who you're with if you are somewhere at a time that is outside your usual relationship norms, whether you're living together or not living together. If you never go out with your buddies for an all-nighter on a Friday night, and now you are, then she's gonna wanna know where you are, maybe because she's concerned or just because it's out of your usual MO. And that's reasonable. So there's a big difference between she needs to know where you are at all times because she's jealous or insecure or controlling, which you want to watch my Damaged Women and Red Flags playlist if you haven't watched that, if you're wondering about this or if you've experienced this particular sign. And if she's just pretty easygoing about it, but expects respect. So expecting respect is a sign of a high standard woman. Number 3 example is restaurant. Let's say you go to a restaurant or you take her to a restaurant, and every time you go anywhere, she has to make 1,000 different substitutions for whatever she's ordering, not because she has food allergies or sensitivities, but just because she's super picky and she's unapologetic about it, maybe even snooty about it with the servers, and it's just basically a drama queen situation. Okay, so obviously that's high maintenance. Whereas if she's high standard, she may need to make substitutions because she has food preferences or because she has food intolerances or allergies, but she's apologetic to the server, so respectful to the server about the inconvenience that that is going to cause, and perhaps maybe she even gives a better tip or is super thankful when the order comes out the way it's expected. Another side tip on this is whether or not she complains about the food and how she does that in respect to how she treats the server. Okay, along those lines, number 4 is if she only wants to go to high-end, pricey, or popular restaurants and always expects you to pay, but she can never pay. She never offers to pay, she never chips in. You are basically the meal ticket, literally, and she doesn't appreciate it. She never reciprocates. She's basically a gold digger. A gold digger is the ultimate form of a high maintenance, low value woman. Anyways, so if you are always taking her to fancy restaurants and she never gives anything back, even if it's like, I'll make you dinner or here's some cookies I baked for you, then that's high maintenance. Versus if she's high standard, she may still want to go to good quality restaurants, but it's because she has good taste and she can afford to pay for herself, and often will offer at the very least to pay for herself, and or will chip in or pay for a movie afterwards or an event that you're going to, or somehow makes it up to you that you're not just paying her way. Number 5, may high maintenance versus high standard. If she has a tantrum anytime plans change for any reason, even super legit reasons, then that's high maintenance. It's got to be her way or the highway. Whereas high standard, she has a reasonable expectation for you to commit to plans that are scheduled, but is understanding if something comes up that requires change. Now, if you are constantly being late or constantly changing plans, then it's reasonable to expect her to address that respectfully. High standard doesn't mean that she's going to put up with bad behavior from you on a consistent basis. That's just not healthy or fair. Number 6, if she's high maintenance, she will potentially, or this is at least a sign, she will like dressing well. She will have her hair done, her nails done. She'll like designer, labeled, obvious. This is a pretty obvious one. But she'll expect you to pay for it, or she'll be in debt up to her eyeballs for it, or she will always be asking for more. Versus high standard. A high standard woman may still want high quality items with or without the labels. Some high value or high standard women do appreciate labels for whatever reason, but they'll be able to afford those items for themselves, and or if they expect you to be able to pay for them, even though they can buy them themselves, they will want to reciprocate buying you some gift or item that you value that might be costly as well. So she may have an income that allows her to expect fancy or expensive gifts, but she's willing and wanting to reciprocate. So again, this is where you got to kind of look at your values and determine whether or not this is the kind of woman that you really want to be with or is compatible for you. And again, my Wake Up to Love program goes through all of those things. So do it. Okay. And along these lines is someone who wants a really nice home, for example. So a high maintenance woman will expect you to work hard and pay for a nice place to live if you're living together, or that if she is hoping to eventually want or get to be able to live with you or together. Whereas a high standard woman will potentially want the same thing, a nice home, but she's willing to work for it herself and contribute to being able to get that, especially if it's her own goal and it's not really that important to you. Okay, this one is one that some of you are not going to like, maybe. All right, number 8 is the difference between high maintenance and high standard women in terms of money. So a high maintenance woman wants a man with money because she wants to spend his money, and she doesn't have money of her own, and or she's broke, and she expects to be treated like a princess. High standard woman wants a man with money because she has her own money, and perhaps she doesn't want to pick up the slack that differential income or means will create in the relationship. So she doesn't want to be the sugar mama in the relationship. She wants a man who's at least on her own level when it comes to finances, so that they can live a life that is financially compatible. Kind of along those lines, and you may want to check out my hypergamy videos, I'll put a link below, is in terms of health, physical fitness, and attractiveness. So I kind of lump these all together because they essentially have the same foundation. So a high maintenance woman wants someone who's, healthy, fit, and attractive because she's shallow and maybe wants arm candy. And she might not be healthy, fit, or attractive herself. So she's not even able to offer up the same thing. Whereas a high standard woman wants someone who's healthy, fit, and attractive because she's healthy, fit, and attractive, and she can get someone who's healthy, fit, and attractive. And maybe she wants someone who's at the same level as her again because that's her preference. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, number 10 is intelligence. So a lot of people go, well, women don't really want a guy who's smart, do they? Well, yeah, smart comes in a lot of different forms. Smart is, intelligence in being able to establish a business, or being able to figure out household finances, or having a witty sense of humor or quick wit. So intelligence comes in many different forms. And a woman who is high maintenance will want a man who's intelligent, again, simply because she will want the security of what that might represent, and or she may want to impress people by his example. Whereas, once again, a woman with high standard may want a man with various types of intelligence because she's intelligent, and she will want to have someone, again, on the same level as her, who will be able to contribute in similar ways to the relationship, not just in terms of what intelligence does with finance or business or any of those other things, but also on an intellectually stimulating level. She will want someone who will be able to keep up with her mind. So essentially, the big difference between high maintenance and high standard women is in the intention and underlying attitude, and whether or not there's reciprocity. So hope this helped. And just real quick, thank you for your donations. I have chocolate and coffee, and that makes me happy.